Alright, I'm back from buying 100 copies of E.T. for $3,000 a piece. I feel like I got ripped off. Or did I?
It's just a dream, as far as I know.
Okay, so this is another weird dream story that's actually going to be a compilation of multiple dreams from many different experiences, but they all seem to have the same sort of theme. And that is going to game stores in your dreams. And for the most part, they seem to be ripping me off in the dreams. So the most recent one I had was actually from just last night, as of when this will be going up. And I was in, it was loosely considered a game store from where I was standing at the start. I was at the counter where the two employees were, and they're just sorting through DVDs, and they're like, oh, hey, look, it's some 80s public service announcement tape with random people who don't really appear in anything anymore. And they're like, oh, let's watch this. And they're going through, and they're like, oh, we don't need this. And they throw a disc in the trash, and it's like, well, yeah, if you didn't want it, I don't know what that was, but I would have looked at it at least. Basically, um, they were just playing this movie, and I was like, I think I'm going to just walk away because this is incredibly dull. And made my way off to the right and had some Atari games. They had some like miniature arcade cabinets, which I've seen before in real life. And they had one, and I thought, you know how in dreams words get twisted. It was almost like a three-person arcade cabinet with a steering wheel, and I thought it said Playdia on it, but the more I looked at it, it said like Playlilia. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but okay, that's cool. I'm sure they want a lot for that. I don't have room for a giant three-person arcade cabinet. So I'm walking through, and I leave the main area, and ended up in the second one, and all of a sudden I turned into 16-bit pixelized person, and I'm in this basketball room, and it's like those arcade basketball hoops where you just do the free throws over and over, and there's kids just in there throwing them, and it's almost like they belong there now, because they were just, walking up him, and they had all the sound effects, and it, like, points would fly up in the air, and things like that. And, okay, let me get out of this room before it gets any weirder than this. So, being 16-bit, I'm in a running animation, and I cross back into the main area from before, and I become 3D again. I'm like, oh, this is nice. And I start running, and I like overly exaggerate my running animation now, because I feel like I went from being, Super Nintendo to, Nintendo Switch. I went from Mario World to Mario Odyssey graphics in my mind. At least that's what I was thinking in the dream, which I don't know how that really came up, but then I conveniently was in front of the Nintendo department. I have never been in a game store that had a Nintendo department, but in this case, they had a Nintendo department. It just said Nintendo. It had two of its own employees in there, separate from the rest. And I was like, oh, hey, this is different. And they're like, oh, yeah, let's find something for you. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. You have Wii stuff. And in my mind in the dream, I couldn't think of a single Wii game that I needed. And honestly, I couldn't think of one now either. So in the dream, I started naming off GameCube games. And I'm like, Beautiful Joe 2? And they're like, oh, I think you're thinking GameCube. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, whatever you say. And they're like, well, we don't have that. We have just this. And they point to a shelf, and it had like 10 games. They're all in Japanese. And I was like, is that Pikmin 2? And they're like, yeah, see? And it was like this tall. I mean, it was humongous. Until they pulled it off the shelf, and it was just like, right back down to normal size. And I'm holding it, and the front is in English. The side and the back is still in Japanese. It says $75, and I'm like, I know this game is worth a decent amount of money, but I don't know about $75. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's just what it is now. And I'm like, it is because you guys inflated the price. I'm starting to have an argument with these people in the dream. I've actually just about had this argument before in certain stores I've gone into where, like a flea market, you have store 1 that's got decent prices, store 3 has decent prices, but stores 2 and 4 are like 3 times as much as everybody else. I'm just thinking, how do you stay open? You're the only one asking for this amount. Somehow they do. But I think that played into this dream because I had enough. It's like, they're only expensive because you made it expensive. This was your idea. And they're like, oh, wait, we're just one of those push-button store delivery services. And I'm thinking, push-button delivery service stores? How does that work? Oh, let me show you. They push a button on the wall. The store disappears, and here comes down from the sky a brand new store, and it just smashes into the floor. We all go through the bottom, almost like holograms. I can see how it, like, dug up the ground and, like, became one with the earth again. Like, oh, just like that. And, of course, now all the shelves are filled again. And like, all right, you're still expensive, so I'm heading out. So that's not the only time. I've had dozens. But one of the more interesting ones I can remember, besides this falling store, thinking back, it's probably been 3 years ago I had this dream. Surprised I didn't do a video on this one yet. So I go into this, it's mostly like an outdoor, almost like a flea market, gaming place. They have different sort of shelves. Every aisle is different, I guess. They had some very cheap looking ones, some nice looking ones. I think this was around the time we had a big hurricane come through here in Florida. What has that been? 3 years? 3 years now, I think. So I'm in there and I'm looking, and once again, it's just super expensive. I tell the lady at the counter, I was like, you got some good stuff, but it's just not the price I'm looking for. And she's like, oh well, it's just what we sell and stuff. And we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden, here comes the storm. And I mean, because this place is kind of outside, there was no roof. It was in like a cage fence around this place. Everything. I mean, it was like a torrential downpour, hurricane grade. Everything just was soaked. I looked her straight in the face, like, how about a discount now, huh? And I don't remember if she agreed or what, if I woke up, but I just thought it was funny that everything was expensive and then it got completely soaked. And like, hey, how about that discount now that they're all wet? And yeah, that's just two out of it. I've had dozens of dreams. Like I said, most of the time things are outrageously priced. Once in a while in a dream, I find a deal. And then I wake up and I said, well, I don't have the deal anymore. Sometimes I find deals. But it makes me think back to when you could actually go and find things in flea markets and thrift shops. Pay $1 for a stack of things. It's hard to find now. Not impossible. And apparently it's impossible in your dreams most of the time unless they get hit with a hurricane. So yeah, that was Crazy Dream story number 3. I have more to come, and I'll see you next time.